Hey y'all, I did want to answer a question that somebody had, which was, could you please find us some cool toned lipsticks that are actually from the drugstore? Turns out this is pretty hard. However, I do have a collection and I went through and bought a whole bunch of drugstore lipsticks just to give it a try and see what I could find, because there's so many that look like they're going to be cool online, and then they show up and they're really, really not. So I'm going to go through specifically Maybelline and L'Oreal, and then I have a few other random sort of drugstore ones. This is not a huge long list because this is a problem. The drugstore really does not have much to offer that is cool toned, and it's not just the drugstore, honestly, but especially the drugstore. So here are the ones that I could find that are cool toned, or at the very least, if they are not cool toned specifically, they look really good on fair cool toned skin regardless. I'm going to go ahead and put that out right now. There are going to be some in here that are not specifically cool tone, but they still look good on us. So, all right. So if that sounds good to you, let's hang out for a minute and I will just show you and list the ones that actually are going to work for your fair cool tone skin and are from the drugstore. Let's go. So let's start with Maybelline. These are around $6 to $7, like at Target. You can find them all different places, but they're the ones with this kind of sheer like top. This is probably my favorite formula from them. It is actually a really, really nice formula as per usual. Most of these, they do have a little bit of a powdery scent to them, not as bad as like the L'Oreal ones. Okay, so I think out of all of the sort of drugstore kind of formulas, these ones are probably the best. I think these are the closest to more of a high-end, nice, satiny, creamy, good formula. I'm just going to go through the few ones that I did find. Here we go. Okay, so let's get started with one that has been discontinued. I'm very sorry, but you can still find it on eBay. Normally, I don't like to include these, but it is a fairly unique one that I think is worth looking for. This is 710 Rose Glimmer. Okay, this one is easy to find. It's been around for a while. It's still out there. It is 450 Romantic Rose. I love this one. Nice, creamy, very cool toned, very light. This will work for even the lightest skin tones, but also if you have a medium skin tone, I think this will still look really good. Very, very beautiful. Okay, next, 235 Warm Me Up. As you can tell, this is a little bit warmer, but it is a true medium pink that is going to work for a lot of people. It does lean cool, but is not completely cool. So this sort of falls into the category of nice, sort of rosy pinks that still look really good on us. Okay, you asked for cool. This is very, very cool. This is kind of straight up purple, 445 on the mauve. I would not personally call this a mauve. I think that this is a shimmery purple. It is very specific. If you are looking for this kind of look, it's a really nice choice. It is wearable. Sometimes purple ones just aren't wearable. This one is right on the edge. And on that same theme, this is 974 Silkstone. It is silver. It is a metallic silver. This is very, very specific. I wouldn't wear this most of the time. I might use this as a topper to cool something else down. But if you're going for like a Tin Man look, this is cool. I mean, yeah. Okay. This one is a classic, straight out of the 90s. A lot of people, this is their very favorite old 90s lipstick, 760 Gone Greige. Again, very specific. I think if you wear this a little more lightly applied, it is really cool, but it kind of makes your teeth look icky. It's really kind of grayed out. There is just a little bit of warmth, makes it a little wearable. Let's move on to the L'Oreal formula. This is a beautiful formula. Most of these are very, very satiny, the ones that I found that are actually in the cooler tones that I thought were very beautiful. These have a very powdery smell. I don't like that. These look pretty good, but as far as the actual formula, you know you're wearing Drugstore. Any of these colors that I was able to find that are in the cooler tones, they are very sort of sheer. They are buildable though. So although I like some of these, I can't say that these are my go-tos, mostly because the formula is so-so. There are, however, a couple of shimmers in here that I think are very, very pretty, and I do reach for those just because I can't really find something similar to it in high-end. Okay, so let's get into the swatches and I'll show you the ones that I did find. Okay, let's start with 760 Silverstone. This I think is one of my favorites when I really want something that is truly cool toned, not completely purple, not maroon. It's really that nice mauve kind of silver. This one really fits the bill. It's really, really pretty. It's just a good one. Okay, now this one I think is a little bit more wearable. It's 810 Sandstone. Very similar finish, but just warmed up a tiny, tiny bit. This is kind of a good neutral. I think most people are going to be able to actually pull this color off, and I think it is very, very flattering and beautiful. Highly recommend this one. I've had it for a while. Okay, next one. Very similar finish, but much warmer. This one is 825 Bronzine. This one's actually new to me, but I really like this one as far as being really wearable. Sometimes when things are too cool, you know, you get that dead girl look, and this is sort of right down the middle, leaning a little bit rusty, a little bit warm. This is a great fall kind of color. This one has been around forever. It is 620 Mica. I think that a lot of people, when they're looking for a mauve or a purple, this is kind of the one that they would always fall back on. They've expanded the range to offer those other variations that you just saw, but I think if you need something with a purple undertone, this one will work. It's also very similar to the Maybelline one on the mauve. This one falls in the category of not terribly cool toned. It's $7.99 Caramel Latte. It just looks really good on us. It's very, very light toned. It's not too orangey gold, but you still get that sort of gold brass color, but not too much. This is almost a champagne for fair skin tones. So, you know, those are some options for you, and some of those, they have been around for years and years, and they are favorites. Something like the Mica one, that has been around as long as I can remember, I think because it is a very popular color. Okay, so we're gonna get into a few of the just sort of random other ones that are from the drugstore, but there's just, you know, there wasn't enough in one line for me to just have it be line specific. So here are the one-offs that I found that do work and are fairly cool, or at the very least look pretty good on it. And some of these are my favorites. I'm wearing one of them right now. So let's get into it. So let's start with my absolute favorite. This is Flower Beauty's Perfect Pout in Blush Rose. And I love the formula of this, and I love the perfect medium mauve color of this. It can look just a little bit bright and poppy, but not without losing that ultimate cool undertone. Okay, I'm pushing it again with these next two from NYX. This is their Ultra Creamy formula. It has been discontinued. You can still find it on eBay for a reasonable price. Totally worth finding if you can. This one is Summer Love. And this one is a total classic. A lot of people may recognize this one. This is Thalia. This is like the perfect mauve, beautiful, creamy, awesome formula. I don't know why they discontinued these. I wish they would bring them back. This is literally one of the best formulas I've ever tried as far as nice moisturizing kind of lipsticks. Okay, finally one from Revlon. I don't have that many Revlon ones here just because there's not a lot of cool tones that I at least could find. This one is 811 Laid Back Lilac. It is very, very kind of, I mean, it's a purpley pink, so I can see why they say lilac, but I think of lilac as sort of like a pale powdery purple. This is not. It's like a fuchsia, but it's wearable and it's definitely cool. And Sephora isn't technically drugstore, but they have drugstore prices, especially for something that is made in Italy. This is a really good quality. I love this. It seems high end to me. This is 01 in their matte lipstick. This is one of those colors that is really hard to find for pale, cool toned skin, but actually works for us. Usually this ends up looking like sort of orange nude. So I was super happy to find this version. Okay, so this is one of my all-time favorites. This is the L'Oreal Matte Lip Crayon in Lavender Honey 513. Great as both a lip liner and a lipstick. Now, I also just recently found these two lip glosses from Essence. Now, they are great for putting over anything that you want to cool down, and they're great on their own too, but I really like them as toppers for other things. These are the new Meta Glow ones, and they're super cheap. They're like $3, I think. I'll put it up. But yeah, these two really work well to bring down and add interest to anything that might be just a little too warm. Really, really pretty. Love these. Pretty good quality for Essence. Essence is very hit or miss. These are good. And on top of that, my absolute favorite, I'm wearing this most of the time, is the Juvia's Place lip oils. This is their purple one. I believe it is Black Cherry. And it is really just one of my all-time favorites. I have already repurchased this. It's great over stuff. It's great on its own. It's great at cooling other things down. It is just wonderful. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. To finish up, I do want to show you, I just got these. They are a newer line. They are L'Oreal, but I forget what they're called. Let me put it up here what they're actually called. But I really like the formula on these. It feels close to high end, especially it is not quite as nice as, say, the YSL kind of candy glaze ones or the Dior Addict ones, but it has a very similar finish. It's very comfortable, very moisturizing, very sort of see-through, but has a lot of pigment to it. I do really like these. I wanted to mention them because they have a bunch of them out right now. My one complaint is that they don't have a cool tone. So they do have some pretty tones that work. So let's go ahead and try those on. I'm going to start with 200. This is the first one I got. And it is the darkest. This is the closest to cool tone. This one almost passes for cool tone. It's close enough that I think it looks fantastic, and I wear this one quite a lot. Nice and smooth. If I had to say what it's closest to, it's like the Dior Addict. It's a little more pigmented and a little less sort of moisturizing and slippy. This is like one of those like every day, I love wearing it. Okay, so now let's go to the light end of the spectrum. So this is their lightest one, which reminds me very much of the YSL Candy Glaze ones, only a fraction of the price. Again, not as glowy, not as moisturizing, but I mean still very, very moisturizing. Really, really pretty. This one is just like My Lips, but better. I wish it had a cooler tone to it. It's got just a little bit of this sort of peachy pink, that baby pink to it. It's a little bit like brightening up your lips just a little bit. It actually is like the color of its sticker, which, you know, I swear they never are, but it really is. The nice thing is because it is a bit transparent, it picks up whatever your cool tones underneath it are, and it kind of brings down the warmth of it just a little bit. So I really like that one. And then I also got 120. I also ended up getting a beige one, and it looked okay in the store. It's going back because it is straight up orange, and nope, we're not gonna do that. So this one's 120, and this reminds me of some of the both Dior and YSL ones that I didn't get because at the price I would want the color to be more what I wanted. If you are looking for that little pop of color but in a formula like this where it's a little bit transparent and you do want it to be a little bit brighter but not like oof obnoxious bright, for drugstore prices this definitely I think is gonna work. So really like this. I love this formula, so I did want to mention these even though they are not the super coolest of the cool. I'm going to go back to the original one. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. If you're interested in those really expensive sort of the YSL Candy Glaze and the Dior Addict, my favorite ones that I've been picking up lately, I still absolutely love them. But there's no way you're paying, you know, $40 to $50 for a lipstick. Totally get that. These are a really good alternative. I had to mention these because really enjoying these right now. That was all of the ones that I could find today. Caveat, I do have some that I have collected over the years, but you can't get them anymore. So I'm not going to include those in this particular video just because that's just super frustrating. If I can't even find it on eBay, I mean, it's not very helpful for me to say, oh, look what you don't have and can't get. So sadly, I do have some that really are cool tone and they just don't have a version of it right now that's available. I really hope that we get back to some sort of like, I don't know if we have to go back to the 90s or what, but I would really love some cool mauves that are not just purple or fuchsia. Like there's a really nice in between there. Oh, could you please start making it again? Because some of us, that's really what looks best on us. Okay, hopefully that was helpful and hopefully that answered your question. And yeah. Maybe someday we will have more options to choose from, but for now, this is what I could find at the store. If you know of other ones that you know and love and that I totally missed, which I'm sure there's some out there, please go ahead and leave those below because I would like to go ahead and make sure I have those in my collection as well because I'm always looking for cool toned pretty much everything, right? Okay. So hopefully that was helpful, and if you haven't subscribed yet and you like this kind of content, I sure would appreciate if you would like and subscribe. Really helps my channel to grow, and I appreciate you guys being here. Okay, hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you in the next video.